Hey, this is Red with PreppersLounge.com, and today I want to talk about what I like to call the sniper fantasy. Now, I'm going to step on some toes here. I'm going to offend some people, but that's alright. The sniper fantasy is really prevalent in the survival community. I see a lot of guys, I know a lot of guys and girls who have a rifle with a scope and they've got it zeroed out to 300 yards, and they say things like, yeah, I'm not worried, man. Anybody comes around me, I'm just going to pick them off from 300 yards. My rifle. Mm-hmm. Are you now? First of all, there's several reasons why this isn't going to work for you. Okay, let's start with the distance. 300 yards is a very long ways. 300 yards is easy when you're at the range shooting paper targets, sitting on a bench. 300 yards is another ball game entirely when you are being shot at, when the target is moving. That changes that scenario completely. So a lot of you guys that think you're going to be knocking down targets at 300 yards, you are not. Okay, I assure you, in combat, that is a lot harder to do. Second of all, if there is a enemy, somebody who is attacking you from 300 yards away, why waste your ammo? Turn around and leave. 300 yards is an extremely far distance. The chance that they're actually going to be able to hit you from that distance is unlikely. Turn around, go the other way. Discretion is the better part of valor, guys. Run and live to fight another day. Why would you even participate in that battle? Now, some people would say, well, they might be attacking my home or something like that, and so that's why. Well, okay, let's roll with that scenario. Go to your front window and have a look outside. I'll wait. You back? How far could you see? I look out my front window, even in my survival location, I can see about 60 yards, and then there's a line of trees. So, and if you're in an urban environment, you can probably see even less, maybe 25 yards to the house across the street. Why would you have your rifle zeroed into 300 yards? You can only shoot as far as you can see. And if you live in the city, having a rifle zeroed in at 300 yards is particularly useless for you. So, you're going to have to take your terrain into account. These people with this sniper fantasy running through their head, they seem to have this idea that in an emergency situation, they're going to be on a hilltop in a tree, bare land all about them, just picking off anybody who comes within 300 yards. Well, first of all, how do you know the person had ill intent? Are you just going to pick off anybody that comes within 300 yards of you? If you believe in a creator, you're probably going to have to answer for that decision in the afterlife. Can this idea that you're just going to pick off anybody that comes within 300 yards of you? How do you know they're even an enemy yet? And last, I hate to burst people's bubbles, guys, but for those of you with that sniper fantasy running through your mind that you're going to have your 308 and you're going to be knocking down targets, 300, 600 yards out, criminals are not going to be unbelievably stupid enough to telegraph their intent 300 yards out, okay? The bad guys aren't going to go, yoo-hoo, you over there, yes, you who are 3 football fields away, I'm coming over there to do you some harm, so go ahead and shoot me now. They're not going to do that, okay? If somebody is going to, if we are living in a world without rule of law, if the system has just collapsed and it's Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome out there, no one's going to be nice enough to let you know that they're bad guys from 300 yards out. They're going to wait until they are right on top of you, and then they're going to spring a trap from distances at which they can't miss. So that means they're probably going to be inside 20 yards, if not inside 10 yards. When it happens, it's going to be fast, and it's going to be brutal, and quite honestly, guys, probably not going to happen as often as you think. It's not just going to be one running battle after the next. Most of it's going to be farming and trading and things like that. But when it does happen, it will happen very close, and it will be very quick. You're not going to be changing out mags and all that. So I got 15, 25 mag. I mean, I do have 15 or 25 magazines, but in most encounters are probably going to be probing type encounters where somebody shoots, somebody else shoots back, and that's pretty much it. So don't think that you're going to be engaging targets out at 300 yards or beyond. You won't. Unless you happen to live in, I don't know, the Great Plains where you can see vast distances. But then again, like I said, how do you know that person 300 yards away has any ill intent for you? Maybe they're coming up to your house because they want to trade. Maybe they're like, hey, look, I got some extra AA batteries, and if you got some cans of beans, I'd love to do a deal here. You shot him from 300 yards away, so you would never find that out. I'm not going to make that moral decision in a survival scenario. Now, some of you might say, well, you're going to get killed. Well, maybe I will, but I'm not going to gun people down mercilessly from 300 yards without knowing their intent. I hope that I can at least reach some of you who have this idea that you're going to just have a sniper rifle and you're going to knock people down. You're not going to do that. Don't do that. The bad guys are not going to give you a chance to do that. Like I said, it's going to be up close and personal. And quite frankly, if you have your rifle zeroed in at 300 yards and it happens the way I say it's going to happen, which I don't have a crystal ball or anything, but if I were a bad guy, I wouldn't let you know I was coming 300 yards out. A rifle zeroed out to 300 yards is going to do you zero good when the bad guy's 10 feet away from you. Okay? So you need to be ready for up close and personal battles. And for that reason, I would highly suggest some of you guys find a combat course in your area that teaches you room clearing and things like that, and engaging at a personal distance, because if it does happen, that's how it's going to happen. So can this sniper fantasy bull garbage. That's just completely unrealistic. It's actually a psychological trick that your mind plays on you in order to protect you from realities which you find very difficult to internalize and deal with. You don't want to think about the fact that you might be in a violent, bloody encounter, so you concoct this fantasy, this scenario where you're taking out the bad guys from a safe distance, where they have no recourse against you. That's not going to happen. It's just not realistic. Like I said, that's a fantasy, a construct that your mind makes in order to make you feel better, in order to make you sleep better at night. Better just get used to the idea that if it happens, guys, it's going to be real. Sniper fantasy, you're wasting your time there, folks. Alright, I'm Red. Feel free to flame me on the comments. PreppersLounge.com if you want to flame me there as well. I'm out of here. Be safe, guys.